Ready? You're on. Move to open meeting at 7:01.
Second.
All in favor of opening the meeting at 7:01 for the Groveland Conservation Commission on Wednesday, April 10th, say aye.
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 We don't have, do we have anybody remote?
Yeah, whoever that is.
Yeah, not a member, though. No. Okay. So no need for roll call this evening.
Does he even know that he's in?
I don't know. That's for one of these things, I think for 194 King. Okay, so we have a pretty full agenda here, so we want to get going. First, we'll be holding 2 public hearings, and then we will go on to some meetings with 3 different sites. And then we've just got some project updates, some news from our conservation agent, who's not with us tonight, and then we'll be done. So, I think we're ready. Yeah, Fred's got a packet there. Okay, we're going to continue the public hearing for 194 King Street, so I'll make a motion to reopen the hearing for 194 King Street, notice of intent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, if you recall, we went all through this last time. This is for a replacement septic system for a single-family home. And the reason why we did not close it out was because we didn't have a DEP number. But they have finally issued one, and they did not give us any comments. So I think we are ready to close out, and we can even, Annie prepared the orders of condition here. If we want to sign them, then they can come and pick them up. So just ask if anyone has any further questions or anything about this one.
It is what it is, right?
Yes. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of, Annie left us all the previous information about it. I don't have my notes from last time, so I don't remember what we said.
The DP's not on the NOI, right?
No, no,
But it's in the
yeah,
orders.
it's number 485.
I don't have any notes on that one.
Yeah, so it's the first group of stuff that she
Yes,
gave us.
but we already reviewed it last week, or I mean, last month.
We don't have any issues, right?
Hmm?
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
There's a lot of wetlands back there.
yes,
No room in front.
no.
Move to issue order of conditions and close the hearing.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, any questions on the motion? We're going to vote to close with no further input on it and issue the orders, which Annie has already written up, and we have the DEP number.
Yes, we do.
All in favor of closing on 194 King Street, 194 King Street, and issuing the orders, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, so here they are. So, and there's a little tab to sign, so, and a pen and everything else, so we'll pass them down, and then I can leave that for pickup. So that order will be ready to be picked up tomorrow. Leave it in the wooden box when you come in the door if the applicant wants to get it.
And there's 10-day waiting period?
Yes, standard.
And we'll be at April 15th real soon.
Okay, the next public hearing is for 6 Hemlock Lane. This is new. It's a notice of intent for the construction of an addition, deck, and driveway expansion within the 100-foot buffer zone. And we did go see this last week. And so we should be able to talk about it. So I'll motion to open the hearing, I'll move to open the hearing for 6 Hemlock Lane.
Second.
Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay.
Okay. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Happy to see you.
Too.
I did hear the peepers.
That's not a obligate species, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I do believe it. They'll go anywhere.
I know.
Yeah, but I did hear them down in my backyard.
Yeah, I've been hearing them a lot too recently.
Yep.
Take it away.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Thor Akerley, professional wetland scientist and registered sanitarian with Williams and Sparages. Tonight, I am representing the property owners of 6 Hemlock Lane, David and Annie Wilson. David and Annie have lived in this home since about the year 2000 when it was constructed. This is one of the homes. It would appear to be part of the Evergreen Lane, Hemlock Lane subdivision back in the year around 2000. I think there were 20 or 30 homes built up in this area back then. This is, as the commission saw the other weekend, this is an existing single-family house lot. The front of the property is primarily lawn and landscaped areas, which gives way to a paved driveway that comes off of Hemlock Lane, and then a backyard area that's primarily lawn and backs up to a bordering vegetated wetland system that encompasses the majority of the rear of the parcel there. There are some small pieces of upland probably in here, but you have a larger wet area here that flows out slightly towards another larger wetland system in this direction, and then another wetter area here which flows in this direction over here. And tonight, I'm here presenting two pieces of a project, or I should say 3 rather. They are hoping to construct a 24 by 16 foot addition off the rear of their home, and alongside that, a 27 by 16 foot deck with a stairway coming off the deck. There is about 150 square foot section of pavement to be added alongside the addition here. This addition would house one additional garage bay. This is a garage here along the existing driveway, and then above the garage would be living space, enclosed living space. So, I know typically for a buffer zone project, I would say, the work is proposed entirely within lawn. There are no trees coming down, no alteration to the wooded portion of the buffer zone, and that is true in this case. However, the catch with this project is that we do have a portion of the addition that is within the 75-foot no-build zone. I know we've been before you with projects that have encroached into the 75-foot no-build zone, and in those type of situations, we do typically try to offer mitigation for stormwater, as well as provide additional wooded buffer zone on properties such as this that have been cleared, especially into the 25-foot no-disturb zone historically. I do think the wetland has encroached further towards the property over the years. This was, I assume, permitted when the bylaw was in effect, and so they probably had a 25-foot no-disturb zone. But since that time, there has been, as I mentioned, portions of lawn that are now within the 25-foot no disturb zone. So as mitigation for the encroachment, we are proposing about a 500 square foot conversion of lawn to wooded buffer zone with a variety of native shrub species outlined on the buffer restoration area schedule. We do typically lay a seed mix in that area as well to allow it to more permanently stabilize, provide native grasses versus just lawn. It's typically better for the environment. We do also have a stone drip edge on the downslope side of the addition to help capture and infiltrate stormwater. And as you see, the closest point from the wetland to the addition is 62.2 feet. The deck is about 74.2 feet from the wetland, so just within that 75 foot, but most of the deck is outside of the 75-foot no-build zone. I will add as well that there is an existing wood deck largely within the footprint of the addition, so much of that area is already inhabited by structure and stairway. And so, again, half of the addition is outside of it, but in terms of alternatives, as you saw, the property is pretty limited to where you could reasonably construct an addition and deck on it. Where you have the front here, side, you're already up against a side setback, and of course wetlands on the front and the back. So logically, you don't have a lot of space to maneuver elsewhere besides here. So my feeling is that, we've tried to include mitigation here that is commensurate with the work that's proposed. We do have some structure within the no-build zone, but we do feel that, the stormwater is being mitigated from the additional impervious surfaces. And most importantly, we're able to provide a pretty significant sized restoration area on the property where we're restoring existing lawn to wooded buffer zone ideally. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions from the commission, and the property owners are here as well.
And we're still waiting to hear from the DEP, is that?
They issued the number.
They did.
No comments.
No comments so far, or
No,
they
no
won't
comments so
issue?
far, but, who knows?
Mike, were you around when this development was permitted?
Is that a trick question?
No, I don't think so.
Yes, he was.
No, I was not.
No, because
Ongoing.
I'm just, I'd be curious about whether the deck came with the house to begin with, or whether that came on afterwards.
Yeah, no, I think it was permitted in the 90s sometime.
I guess one of my concerns is that if the wetland is encroaching, what's to keep it from encroaching further? And I know we talked about whether or not this was a vernal pond. How do we determine for sure whether it is a vernal pond, and how would that affect our decision?
I'm sorry, what was your first question?
What, if the wetland is already, we are already thinking it's encroaching, what happens if it continues to encroach?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I've seen it this year especially bad. Water's extremely high, delineations are tough, especially in sites like this where you don't have a ton of soil, it's ledgy, so you have to kind of make a judgment call. So I do think I was a little cautious with this, but as you kind of saw, there is a bit of a slope going down to the wetland. So I think it's fairly limited to where it will encroach further, but I think it's something the commission will see more and more, is wetlands are probably going to start coming closer and further towards where areas were developed and permitted previously. There's nothing that can stop it, but, I do think areas where you can get rid of lawn is helpful, and at least mitigating
Right.
things like that, but
Yeah.
I agree with you. And then, you can't evaluate this area. I don't want to speak for the commission, but, in my experience, typically an addition, as long as it's, in my opinion, 50 feet or so greater, I think you're not looking at a huge impact when it's in lawn, especially if stormwater is being mitigated, and you're able to provide additional habitat, which we are here. But it needs to be evaluated, and it was too early in the season probably for me to look at it when I had been out there, and even when we were out there just the other weekend, it was still too cold, I think. But we're getting close for sure.
When did you delineate the wetlands?
It was
Was it on the,
February 6th. Yeah.
What's the total square feet of the mitigation area?
500.
500? Okay, yeah.
575, I think it's.
Oh, 575. Yeah, it was in the narrative.
I guess those are my two biggest concerns.
Oh, and about the vernal pool.
Vernal pool and the,
Well, so the homeowner can report it as a vernal pool themselves if they believe that it meets the criteria. It's not a current vernal pool.
it's not documented as one, but that doesn't mean it isn't one.
No, but I'm saying the homeowners, anybody can document it and report a vernal pool, and then, you know, they'll decide if it really is or not.
But would that affect our decision?
No, because it's not.
What's your concern?
If it's a vernal pool, whether this will,
Negatively affected?
yes, negative impact of a enlarging wetland.
Well, enlarging the wetland ought to provide a little more buffer for it, actually, I would think.
What? It is encroaching, so,
Well, but not all of the wetlands are the vernal pool. I think that's what Terry's saying.
Hmm.
When was the deck added to the house? Do you know?
We didn't add it, we changed it at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, a species in a vernal pool, right, the value of it is that it provides habitat and breeding for salamanders, different kind of species like that. You know, they're not using lawn as,
yes.
you know, as up,
true.
you know, as upland areas for when they're running around and living their lives. They like it out here in the wooded areas. You know, sure, one might venture there, but they're not actively in that area,
Okay.
you know. So I definitely see what you're saying, and
And you're proposing converting existing lawn to wetlands, right? Not converting vernal pool to wetlands, right?
correct.
Okay.
We would never-
So-
yeah.
So you're actually making a little bit more of a buffer to the actively traveled area.
Exactly, and it's in the 25-foot no disturb zone, currently the area that's lawn. So, you know, you're
Taking it out.
providing additional habitat in that area in closest proximity to the potential vernal pool.
Well, I mean, that
And
lawn's
wetland.
already been lost, right? Is it still lawn at the?
Well, this is I highlighted the edge of disturbed here in
Okay,
the darker green, and then this is the restoration area and 25-foot no disturb zone. So this whole section is the 25-foot no disturb zone, that's existing lawn.
okay.
Is the area above that, it's within 25 feet, but the idea is not to continue that reclamation further?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you could, but 25 feet, it seems to line up with, you know, it logically makes sense that this is a good chunk to kind of give up versus like giving up an entire lawn, obviously. And it's, you know, the area closest to the wetland, but still preserves some of the existing lawn that's there.
Is it, I wasn't at the site walk, obviously, but if you're, is it, within 25 feet, is it all wet right now? In other words, would it make sense to just abandon that little portion of lawn, not necessarily plant anything, but just let nature take its course?
I mean, I would think. Want it planted.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't fight you on that.
No, I mean, I think that should be a mitigation area for sure.
Generally.
I was trying not to add more expense to the, here's my only, and the reason I asked you, Mike, because
Yep.
me and Terry have been here a long time too, but this was before my time. My concern would be that we set a precedent that we we oftentimes allow developers to put stuff within really close to 75 feet, because the way things are going now, there's no land, basically. So they're always squeezing the houses in. You know, and this one wasn't something that was built in the 50s or 60s or 70s, where you just sort of, you have what you have. And I guess my fear is we allow this, then it's like, what's the precedent for the next one? I mean, in my mind, this had a deck on it, so there is something there. already, that's a little bit different than if there was nothing there.
Yes, so my comment on that would be, when people are coming in, even though we have a 75-foot no-build zone for residences, that normally when new houses are built, we try to keep them completely out of the 100-foot buffer now, just so we don't have to, deal with issues
Yeah,
similar
no,
to
'cause
this, right?
Yeah, we've had stuff come back after a couple of years.
Yeah,
and
right,
people wanna
right.
add, and-
Yeah, the other thing I would say, in visiting the site, I was very happy to see that the residents were not abusing or taking extreme advantage of their backyard. We've been to houses where people have piles of leaves and brush at
Right.
the edge of their lawn, right into the buffer zone, that, they're pushing right up against the 25, and into the 25 with grass and other activities. And so I didn't see any of that here. I think that the residents have been respectful of the wetlands and are aware of, their value, let's say. So I would say, in this case, along with the mitigation that's being offered, that I would say we could allow it.
And you're not going to make them promise to never leave, right?
Oh, well, yeah, right.
So I will say too, they've been here for 22 years, and this is a big project for them, in that this makes the home kind of their final, this is their forever home, is what they've, conveyed to me, and they have no intentions to leave. Not that that's,
That's-
I know
that's
I know you're
irrelevant.
joking,
It's irrelevant,
but
yeah.
but it is, this is their forever home, and they do respect the land clearly, and
Any other comments or questions?
The stairway goes between 75 and, I don't see the 50 line, but I
There is no
assume it's
50
all out
line.
of the 50?
it is out of the 50. Yep.
62 feet, you said?
Yep, from here.
Can you explain the driveway to me, I guess? I'm just concerned, how much is that expanding? The
So
pavement?
only 150 square feet. So see this dark line here?
Yeah,
That's the existing edge of pavement.
the dark line is the existing.
Yep, and this kind of comes up right to where the edge of the addition's proposed and wraps into the side of the house. So there's a little section here, and they only want to add this section on the inside and then this section on the end to allow access into the garage bay. And that is also within lawn.
And you'll
It's
have the
within lawn, but
stone-
it's,
The stone on the edge of that also, does the stone run the length of the,
So the stone's just on the addition, actually. The only reason I didn't put it on the driveway, or we didn't put it on the driveways, was because my understanding was that driveways could be within up to 25 feet. It wasn't part of the 75-foot no-build zone, but, if that's something the commission feels strongly about, we can incorporate that.
incorporate stone into the
Like
driveway?
an infiltration
No, on
trench,
the edge, for the,
Okay.
almost like riprap for,
like an infiltration
Yes,
trench, sort of.
for
yeah.
the increased loss
as
of,
if you,
Permeable
was
surface?
there a little bit of a slant on the slope on the driveway coming down?
Yeah, it slopes this way
Yeah.
generally, so you could do something probably on this side.
Just think about it, because I think you're adding a little bit more
Right.
asphalt, I don't think it's going to create that, but it just might be something.
just more loss of permeable surface.
But I think with the mitigation right now you have just lawn. Anything that goes on there goes right into the, this is a better buffer in the buffer zone.
And it is only 150 square feet of pavement. It's not a significant section.
Right.
See this sliver here,
Yeah.
It's not much bigger than this set of tables.
And Mike, you did the site walk? Was there any issues on the edge of the driveway? Like, it's like well-established and stable?
No.
It's just it's directly next to a pond.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we've done driveways pretty close,
Oh, yeah.
depending on the property. Oftentimes, it's older houses and they don't have space, but.
Right.
You said it was about, is it about or exactly 500 square feet for the reclamation area?
I believe it might be 575. It was either 500 or 575. It should be called out in the narrative.
It says 575.
575.
Buffer zone,
Okay,
restoration area.
So we have a specific amount. That's a good
A
thing.
good goal in mind.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
Sorry. The stairs, I assume it's just going to be concrete pillars in the ground?
Yes,
Posts?
yes.
Nothing-
Unless, yeah, unless you guys were thinking anything else, but that's what I had assumed.
What's on it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
nothing unusual about
Any
them.
big structures or anything like that?
Just, yeah, standard concrete footings.
Okay.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the plans as submitted with the proposed buffer zone reclamation area of at least 575 square feet, and that they contemplate when they're looking at the driveway whether there should be some mitigation with gravel or some other sort of drainage to try and slow down the flow coming off the driveway before it hits the wetlands,
And close the hearing.
and close the hearing.
Second.
Okay, so we're voting here to approve the project as submitted with adding some stone riprap on the edge of the driveway there. So that we'll have that put in the orders of condition. And I think that's the only change that we made. All right. So all in favor of the project at 6 Hemlock Lane as we discussed, say aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thor, that was nice work, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next meeting is with,
Do we need to close hearings, or?
yeah, we did.
Okay, that was part of the.
Closed it, yeah.
So the next meeting up is 6 Cherry Tree Lane, and this is for some tree work. This is a Groveland RDA for tree work in a jurisdictional area. And he says she has no comments on this.
So, Stan, this is my first time.
Welcome.
Oh, there's a mic.
Thanks.
First time, long time?
First, long-time listener, first-time attender.
Long-time listener, yes.
So, okay, you do have the photos. Okay, I have provided some photos. Some of the trees that are in question are already dead. If you look at the one that's bordering the corner of the backyard, that never shows any growth. That's already dead, and it's my main concern here is just to protect the structures on my property and my neighbor's property. So the plan is to remove the trees that are in question. I believe it's 9 trees in total.
Or the,
Sorry,
Should've been the
were there,
next one. No,
okay,
it's him.
okay.
it's me.
Just to remove the trees, leave the stumps, I'm trying to disturb as little as possible in the surrounding areas. This will also allow more light to the lower saplings, the smaller trees in the area. And those, I want to leave all of those if possible, because that's what provides us our privacy in the summer months when the leaves start to come in. So really, this is just to mitigate any risk against any structures on the property and my neighbor's property.
How many are deceased? You think just one or more?
There are at least 2 that are not showing any growth. There's one that you can see a ladder is leaning up against it. It's kind of decorative.
Yep.
That tree itself is completely dead, never shows any growth. The one on the corner of the yard is completely dead, never shows any growth. The others do have several dead branches and are often dropping those branches. Some are leaning. The one in the front of the house isn't leaning, and it does drop quite a few branches every year. Again, my biggest concern is risk to the structure itself, to the house.
Right.
Yeah, we're not that concerned about little branches, but tree falling on the house, that gets our attention.
That's a concern.
If it's dead and it could fall on your house,
Have you identified the trees?
The ones that are dead, yes. Like I said, the one at the back corner of the yard is dead.
Is that number 2?
But I mean, what kind of trees are they?
Oh,
I believe all are oak, white oak.
White oak.
Most of what is in the area are oak trees.
Yeah.
On my property, they're just oak trees. There are a couple of maple saplings, but none of the trees in question, I believe, are maple.
yeah, if you go through Johnson's Pond, there's a lot of dead oak trees I have no idea why. I mean, it's not
Where
like
Cherry Tree Lane is? I don't even know where that is.
ash borer.
The wetland that borders the house, sorry, the wetland that does border the home, you can see in some of the photos, there have been a few trees, some woodpeckers have just gotten to them.
Well, the woodpeckers get to them because there's bugs in them.
Yeah, and some of the trees have already fallen over in the wetland. Again,
That's not a.
that's
threat
not
to
a
your
concern,
house.
right, that's not a concern to me.
Yeah.
Anything too close to the home is what I'm looking to remove, just, again, to mitigate any risk to the house. Or
How far are they from the wetlands?
most of them are closer to the house than they are the wetland, but it's a very, very small wetland. I'm not sure the size of it, but that
I don't
lot,
care about the size of it, but is the, like, I'm the tree and the parking lot is the wetland. Is it like that distance?
it's more like, if you're the house, I'm the tree, the wetland is out in the hallway.
Out in the hallway, so 30, 40 feet away.
They're probably close to that.
Okay.
Most of them are at least that. The one on the corner of the yard really is nowhere near the wetland. The one in the front of the yard, nowhere near the wetland. The ones around the border, some of them are probably 20 or 30 feet from the wetland.
All right. But they can be felled so that they,
So,
away from the wetland, but not on your house.
correct. The plan is to have a removal service come in, cut the trees and take them out altogether. And again, I want to allow the younger saplings to start to grow in their place. Removing some of
Keep
these
the
trees,
stumps.
keep the stumps, even the trees that are still alive are providing a lot of shade coverage. Removing them will allow those younger saplings to start to grow.
When do you want to have this done?
Sooner the better.
Somebody lined up?
Yeah, I do have and I can't remember I had 6 companies come out in one day. There was one company that gave me assurances that I was comfortable with, that they would bring in the proper equipment, be in and out in a reasonable amount of time and at a reasonable price. Because the prices were
Oh, yeah.
between $5,000 and $25,000. Yeah, it was eye-opening.
do they have to bring equipment on the, like, heavy equipment on the lawn, or can they do it from your driveway in the
They
street
said they would be able to do everything from the driveway.
with a crane?
Has Annie been out there to look at this? Did our agent come to take a look?
Yeah, I think she did. Annie came and looked at it, right?
I am not aware of anyone stopping by or making any appointments with me. If someone stopped by independently,
Oh,
I
no,
don't-
they would need your permission.
Yeah,
She has no comments,
no comments.
meaning she looked at it, or meaning she didn't look at it?
I'm going to assume she didn't if she has no
Yeah.
comments.
I'm surprised if she didn't look at it.
I'm surprised she had no comments.
No, I'm not surprised she had no comments, but I think she probably at least drove by, but
So
who
the people you're
knows?
planning on working with, when did they say they would be able to do it?
I got an email today asking if they could pencil me in for the 22nd,
Of April.
April, yes.
All right, so we can't wait till the next hearing to go send Annie out there or anything. But,
Yeah, and we
I mean, it
don't,
seems to me, you got a dead tree,
One of them
could
is
fall in the
dead.
house.
2 of the 9 are definitely dead. The remainder are, again, overhanging or close to the home or the shed, or, well, one of the dead ones is hanging over the neighbor's yard, and
Taking out the whole bunch.
Yeah.
his swing set,
Yeah, okay.
or his granddaughter's swing
I guess
set.
that's- that'll get you to
And we
5,000.
don't really know the distance to the wetland.
no, but because he filed a GRDA, I suspect it's greater than at least 50 feet away, so, or else she wouldn't have had him file a GRDA.
I mean, he's backed up against, there's another street on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I know all that area is wet by
Yeah.
the circle there, but probably a little finger comes down there. Can you, on the pictures, I'm just trying to get an idea of where it
Sure.
is. So obviously, that's the front of the house. And then, where's this one? Like the shed, is the shed
Yep.
here?
So this is the back corner of the property.
So probably up there or over here?
It's on this side.
Okay, so that's closer, so
It's
that's
closer to the neighbor's property than the wetland.
to 4 Cherry Tree or to Clark
Closer
Road?
For Cherry Tree.
Okay. Okay.
These are the trees that are abutting the wetland.
These are,
So that over there is the
These are
circle
more the back of the yard,
trees
over
identified.
there?
where's the,
and these would be the
We
side
don't know
of
what
the
kind
driveway.
of, like,
He said that was
Zoom in,
pretty.
I'll show you almost the exact trees.
Sorry, as I'm staring at, so probably over here.
Yeah, most of them are on this corner
He's
here,
willing to plant
because
some
the
replacements.
cherry tree,
Exactly.
the driveway is here.
I want to say that, at
Most are here, here,
least 1 to 1,
and then
yes, because we don't.
and we
no.
can supply a list of what we would like to see.
So these
Or
ones-
No,
are-
Annie
Yes.
will. She has a standard thing.
Yes.
here. Wait, where do we go? Over here.
Okay.
This is
these are all jurisdictions?
on this corner here.
Yes, I don't know, I mean, this one seems like it's
Front of the
kind of
house.
far away, but,
Yeah, no, that's.
And then I believe,
I mean,
Oh.
these
Additional
over
pictures?
here, and
No, that's all she
those
gave
on
us.
the other side.
This is other stuff.
yeah, there are,
Okay, I just wanted to,
there are also a couple,
But, you know, I mean, they're mostly
Yeah.
young trees.
But nothing
not a
is-
heck of a lot of- They're probably all about
deep into the wetlands.
less than
Yeah.
50
Really
years
what
old,
is
probably more
very
like
close
40
to the
years old.
driveway, or the home or the shed.
right. Okay.
We typically, when we take trees down in the wetlands, we like to replace them with a native species of appropriate type, so that would be
Right.
something we would be looking for.
That's where I'm hoping to preserve the existing saplings, because everything that's growing in its place would be oak or maple that have just sprouted up. You know, these are
I mean,
small
I
saplings
guess
around the,
if we haven't identified the trees definitively, we have a problem with Norway maples, so I'd like to make sure that you don't have Norway maples growing on your property that you're allowing to grow, because they're invasive, and I would
Yeah.
prefer,
no,
our agent can give you a list of native species. They don't have to go in the exact same spot that these trees came down from, but certainly we would like to replace them. That's typically what we request.
Well, if he's got an understory that's already waiting
don't
to
even know
replace
what they
it, we
are.
don't know, we don't know. And it sounds like we're sort of grumbling towards, we'd like to take a look, or at least have
Oh,
Annie
you
take
want
a
to go
look.
look?
Yeah, so,
Can't we, you said, when was the day where they?
26.
April
the
22nd.
22nd.
That's before the 20, when was the other meeting going to be?
25th?
4th, 5th?
20, today's the
10th.
10th, the 24th then.
Oh, that's not good.
That's candidates night.
No,
It's the-
25th is
The
what.
Thursday, the 25th, okay.
Oh, yeah, 25th is what we picked.
So, we don't all have to go, whoever can make it at a particular time.
And then would we decide on site?
We could, I mean, this is a GRDA, so it's not like, it's a letter permit, so,
Okay.
we can take a vote, make it
Contingent?
contingent upon the site visit, not finding any outstanding issues or something to that effect.
That sounds reasonable.
These are pretty mature trees in a
Yeah, I know,
wetland.
they're not huge things that you cry over cutting them down. All right, so, so when do you, who wants to visit it and when do you want to do it?
I'll go. Saturday?
Oh, you could go Saturday after the cleanup.
Oh, is that your requirement? Yeah,
No,
well,
I'm
we're all
just
gonna be
saying.
together on Saturday anyway. Let's do it
That's going to be
Saturday.
done in 20 minutes.
Terry thinks it's going to go
No,
really
seriously,
quick,
it's almost not worth doing.
I told you, get that sign to put in.
Well, the
Terry,
sign,
And you're
but,
going to be in charge.
okay. Maybe.
All right, so maybe somewhere around 9:30 or 10 on Saturday morning?
Okay.
All right.
So are we
And
making,
you're hoping to be able to allow him, if we decide to have those guys come in on the 22nd? Or,
Well, we don't have to say the date, as long as it's later than May.
right, but what I'm
April
saying is,
15.
we're not going to make him wait until the next hearing.
No, no,
That's the
no.
intention.
We can
Okay.
take a vote tonight.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, I'll let you make the motion.
No, I don't want to do that.
I don't even know how to say this.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll move that we allow the specified trees to be cut at,
6 trees.
I thought it was
There were
nine.
nine?
Oh, it's
trees.
6 Cherry Tree Lane,
6
9
Cherry Tree
trees.
Lane.
Nine
Upside down 6.
The 9 trees at 6 Cherry Tree Lane, pending site visit on Saturday, the... what is that?
13th.
13th, yeah.
Groveland.
Second?
Well, I'm just wondering if we see tree, like, what
Well, that's what
potentially would we
pending,
change on Saturday? Will we say, oh, we, like,
that's what pending is all about.
Well, and it's
but then we could say never,
up to 9 trees.
okay.
I'm okay with that. So there are some of the trees, when they came out to look, the ones that are closest to the wetland, he said, I can take them down. I would recommend that. This was the tree company that came out. He said, I can also trim them back, and I'll give you a different price for each. But if you'd like to just trim the dead growth, I'm okay doing that. Again, my concern is the ones that are closest to the house, I would like to remove.
Yeah.
So that there is no damage to the property. The ones closest to the wetland, one of them is leaning toward the wetland anyways. If it falls, it's going to fall in the wetland.
So that's why
I'm
when we
okay
come and
if
look,
you say, we'll trim that.
we can discuss it with you.
Sure.
Who's the tree company?
Let me check. I know I have the email. Arbor Tree Service.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Was it seconded?
It was.
Okay, so any other questions? So we will go and visit it at approximately 9:30 or 10 on Saturday, and then issue a letter permit.
Get it.
Pending that visit.
Yeah,
It's not going to take
All right,
long.
so we voting?
yes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Do you go by Robert?
Rob,
Rob.
whatever you call me, I've been called worse.
All right,
That's
thanks a
what I
lot,
tell
Rob.
people. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, next is a Groveland RDA for 2 Federal Way for
Is it
parking.
2 or 8? Oh, 2, okay, yep.
For parking within the 100-foot buffer zone in an industrial parcel.
Oh, yeah, I needed this explained because I could not figure out the map.
Oh,
I have some plans for you guys. Bigger.
Ah, fantastic, thank you.
Ooh.
Two Federal Way.
yeah, you know which one this is, on the corner there.
Yeah.
We had it in, it's outdated now.
We were there a couple of years, yeah, I don't know if you were on board then.
Go ahead, Jay.
So my name is James Ogden. I'm here with Eric Harper, who owns the property at 2 Federal Way. The plan in front of you had been brought to a technical review conference, I believe back in March of 2022. 2 Federal Ways has a proposed 5,000 square foot commercial building on it. The site's comprised of 2 parcels. The primary parcel is depicted there. It's map 49, parcel 5F. And the adjacent parcel to the east is map 49, 5A, I believe. There's an existing septic system installed on the property that's adequate to serve the proposed 5,000 square foot building. The existing septic system is outside the 100-foot buffer zone. The entire site is existing lawn up to about 25 feet of the wetland. In the technical review conference, planning had pointed out the need for an aquifer overlay special permit, as there's going to be more than 2,500 square feet of impervious area added. They also pointed out that if a land disturbance went over 20,000 square feet, we would need to file a stormwater management and land disturbance permit. Feedback from the building inspector was that the building would require sprinklers. The fire department commented that they were satisfied with the ability to access around the building. And conservation had a few more comments. The first hurdle that they identified was the natural heritage zone that encompasses the site. A few years back, I want to say it was 2018 or so, I worked with Mr. Harper to donate 12 acres of property in Georgetown to Mass Fish and Wildlife. And at that time, we had David Paulson from MESA come out, and he didn't have any objections to utilizing this portion of the site. We don't have any paperwork from him yet, and he's moved to a different position within MESA. So I have been working with Emily Holt and I don't have the other name in front of me, to get like an updated letter saying that that they didn't have any concerns with the site as it's proposed. So obviously the major objection to conservation. Major objection the conservation had was the parking to the rear of the building, which falls within the 100-foot buffer zone. So we're kind of, sorry. So I suspect it's probably your first time viewing this plan, even though I know Mike saw it a couple of years ago and Annie has been over it a couple of times. So we kind of wanted to bring it in front of you guys and discuss the overall limitations on the site, mostly created by the wetland to the east and the wetland to the north. It's on the other side of Route 97.
So our bylaw for industrial parcels does not permit any parking at all within 100 feet. And this is I mean, we've been there, we were there a couple of years ago, I forget why, but it's just a flat grass area now. there's no, like, existing building or business or anything there.
There is an existing septic system on the property, and there's a tank in the middle of the, basically in the middle of the lot right now.
Right, which I remember when we were out there for the site walk, we were a little surprised, because I don't think any of us remembered that being, we don't know when it was put in, let's put it that way. But regardless, I guess it's similar to the discussion we had on 6 Hemlock. We have a very specific rule. This one, unlike other properties in town where there's been existing businesses and historically it's been used in a certain fashion, this one essentially is a brand-new parcel, and we would be directly going against what's in our bylaw. I'm just trying to figure out how we would reconcile
And
that.
we rejected an application just the last meeting.
Yep, Comcast.
So obviously, the parcels existed for a while. When the septic system did go in, there was a proposed, I believe it was 8,000 square foot commercial building, which may have predated your prohibition of parking within the buffer zone. That was why the system went in originally, and that was the plan to develop the property at that time, which I think
What
was
was the date on that?
around 1997.
I think that would be after the bylaw.
Yeah, bylaw was in 96. But, I mean, the septic system, putting the septic system in, you know, it's outside of the 100-foot
Right,
buffer, so.
we have no control on that.
Right.
You can do whatever you want, as far as we're concerned.
I mean, Jay, our hands are tied on this. You know, we've been pushed on this recently in about 3 other sites. And, you know, again, like we said, saying to you, you know, our hands are tied. And in at least 2 of the last cases, they were able to come up with something different. One was by making the building smaller, and the other one, they found a way to reposition the equipment that they were going to put in the 100-foot buffer. So, you know, it's like, I don't know what to say, but unfortunately, I don't think we can go with this plan. And if you can come up with something else, I mean, it's tricky because
There's not a lot of space.
two-thirds of the site is unbuildable. And that's probably why it's been sitting there for so long with nothing on it.
So that is generally why we're here. Clearly, as you said, about 2/3 of the site is encompassed by that 100-foot buffer zone.
Yeah,
Majority of the remainder of the site is encompassed by front yard setbacks to Salem Street and Federal Way, which does leave that odd-shaped stepped building. One of the things we're looking to propose to the zoning board is to square off the building and rotate it around the northeast corner so that it still remains outside the 100-foot buffer zone. Still remains outside the 50-foot setback on Salem Street,
Yep.
but encroaches on Federal Way. That would bring the southeast corner a little bit further from the wetland. Would keep it entirely out of the buffer zone, but it would reduce slightly the amount of parking that was available on the Federal Way side.
yeah.
The other issue we're up against is that the zoning regulations actually prohibit parking within the front yard setbacks. So we are going to be seeking relief to allow that parking in the first place.
Yeah.
If we were to eliminate the parking in its entirety behind the building,
Yeah.
is there a path forward there?
Well, if you can.
There's a clearer path.
It's clearer than this, yes.
You guys clearly pointed out that your hands are tied by your bylaw.
Right.
Um,
We, you know, it's unlike the zoning board, you know, we're not willing to, and I don't think we can anyway, override especially for commercial and industrial sites.
And we would probably be opening ourselves up to lawsuits if we said, sure, go ahead, when 2 meetings ago, we said, no way.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that I was clear understanding your bylaw.
Yeah,
The parking to the rear of the building is an issue.
yeah.
If I have a fire lane that encircles the building, that's clearly permissible as long as it's 25 feet from the wetland.
Well,
I think we had some
Literally like
Things
2 sections
on-
down in the bylaw.
impermeable surfaces or something. We had
yeah,
fire lane itself, I don't think it's objectionable. The asphalt, I think,
Yeah.
is. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to have that be a ruling.
We'd have to read the bylaw.
Yeah, we have to-
I don't have
have to-
a copy on me.
Revisit.
we had
So it's-
discussed that,
But we had that same
yes.
issue with a commercial property on the other side of the street, I think, pretty much. Not quite the other side, but
Yeah,
on the other side of Salem, where we wouldn't allow paving in the back, but fire access, because gotta have fire access.
Yeah. So it is Chapter 30, Section 2.1, subsection C, subsection 3, that prohibits parking for commercial, institutional, or industrial structures within the 100-foot buffer. But then 2 sections down, Section 5, driveways and utility service connections remains shall not be installed within 25 feet of any resource area described in 30-1-2. So your hands are tied not allowing parking, but it seems like there's an open book to allow a driveway.
For residences, yeah, there's plenty of instances in town where they're closer than 100
In your
feet.
current bylaw, as it's written, doesn't distinguish between the two.
yeah, we do, though.
Yeah, I mean, but it's clearly not parking. For
absolutely.
a commercial
Absolutely.
building.
Yep.
I mean,
So that's why, maybe some kind of fire lane could be allowed. As long as it wasn't regularly used or paved,
Or parked on.
well, I think
parked on, yes.
it would have to be one of those, like, you can't put a dumpster in the back, because then they're constantly gonna be driving on it, then essentially
Yeah,
it's a-
right.
it's a
Right.
parking area. I mean,
So, I mean, that's one potential relief that you might seek.
Is there any way to, I believe in the technical review conference we had, that was suggested that if there was a way to mitigate or make improvements to the wetland, that there could be a little bit more wiggle room here?
Well,
We've never done that for commercial. The only time we've ever allowed something was when there was already a hazardous waste site within the 100-foot buffer, and they were gonna remove it and clean it up. That's the only time. I don't think you have any of that kind of issue there.
and you don't really have a lot of space to work with anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you got isn't that berm, doesn't the berm go all the way down?
Well, I'm just talking about
And then,
wetland area is pretty small compared to,
Oh, for,
The adjacent lot is about an acre and a half or so. It's not shown in its entirety, but it's the same ownership.
oh, okay. Wow.
But this corner of the lot
This-
is, sorry,
This is not in play at this point, or
to
this
the
lot.
east.
To the east, along
Yeah.
Salem Street frontage, not Federal Way frontage.
Correct.
Okay.
So
But this is all wetlands.
the majority of it is wetlands. There's a portion in the rear that I believe is dry.
Yeah,
And as you know, the other side of that lot is a gas station,
yeah,
parking
yeah.
in the buffer zone.
but the difference there, that was an established business for
Yeah,
many,
well,
many,
that
many
was the
years.
hazardous
that
waste
was the
site.
hazardous waste, yeah.
Yeah.
See, whatever you do, use
Mhm.
against you.
Mhm.
But the glacier was not kind to Groveland.
I think you need a different plan. If you go smaller building, maybe you have more room. I don't
That
know.
entire parking lot's inside the 100-foot. Or the back,
No, the back is gone, that you can't,
yeah.
but I don't know what your plans were. I mean, I guess
I mean, it's,
there's been nothing there for a long time, so I don't know what your thoughts were business-wise, but I don't see a building that size fitting there.
So, I mean, it is an existing, in terms of the building department, buildable lot along one of the 3 corridors that's identified in Groveland's master plan as being priority development areas. The wetland behind it that we're proposing encroaching on, as I said, it had a, you guys said it yourselves, it had a hazardous waste site behind it that's been cleaned up and replaced by a gas station where they're actually putting in fuel tanks. The wetland across the street, half of that buffer zone is already paved with a state highway. The property on the other side of Federal Way is an automotive lot that is paved to about 25 feet of the wetland, and the entirety of that site pitches directly into the wetland. So we're proposing a paved area that would have stormwater management. All of the groundwater would be captured, filtered, and then, treated and released. Any site that if it gets reduced there, then there's no stormwater mitigation required. So a building this size may look large, but along that corridor, it would actually be one of the smallest buildings. And
Well, I think the argument that there's a lot of stuff that happened that we wouldn't allow now doesn't carry a lot of weight.
yes.
I mean, all the things that some of the things you mentioned, we just wouldn't allow now. We wouldn't let them do that now. So, if you come here 40 years ago, you probably could have done it. But that was then.
yeah, so I mean, I guess I'm tiptoeing around. If we can't fit a building in, then you're basically making the property useless.
I wouldn't go so far to say that. We're maybe not allowing you to optimize it as much as you want to, but that doesn't make it useless.
You could put a 4,000 square foot building in there, right?
You're not maximizing your return, but that doesn't make it useless.
Does Groveland allow for 2-story buildings?
Yes, but every use allowed in the commercial industrial zone requires parking.
Yeah. So, but is the parking requirements under the planning and zoning so restrictive? Or do they grant waivers? I think they grant waivers, right?
I get the sense that you're asking us to find out. So
No, I'm just saying, that we have already said we are not granting waivers to what the bylaw says here. But I know that the planning and zoning boards do grant waivers. That's all I'm saying.
And if it's a high priority for them, they would be incentivized
Yeah.
to grant waivers.
Right, especially if
And it's not a high
it's,
priority for us.
We, of course, we realize, we want to encourage business to come here, and Eric knows that.
We'd like to reduce our taxes.
Yeah, right. But, we're between a rock and a hard place on this one. And I know, like I say, that planning and zoning are not in that position, so maybe it might be a out there somewhere. We've told you, I think the only out that we can offer is maybe a fire lane, that's about it. So if you want to continue, we can continue, or if you want us to just turn it down, it's up to you.
Eric, you are not wrong. That is the correct answer for you.
That was going to be my answer. I was just going to ask for clarification on what the next steps in this process would be. We can rework the site plan and come back in for a GRDA.
Yeah, under the GRDA, we'll continue it. If you want to wait, you could wait until you can get some possible clarification from zoning, would they even consider this or something, and then maybe, because otherwise, if we said no, then you're going to have to file a notice of intent. But you might be better off waiting and just providing more information, I think.
And we can continue, and if you're not ready by the next hearing, we'll just continue it again.
Yeah, right.
That would not be the first time something like that's happened. Probably won't be the last.
That makes sense?
That makes sense.
All right. We're going to move to
Thank you.
continue the hearing,
Continue the meeting, because it's not a
meeting,
hearing.
I'm sorry, the meeting, probably not to the 25th.
Yeah, well, no.
Want to do the 25th
Just say,
and then
well,
bounce it?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll keep doing that.
We're having a meeting in 2 weeks from tomorrow, not on our usual day, because it's candidates' night. So we can't use,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can just vote.
we'll just, you don't even have to come here. We'll just say,
just voted.
move to continue to the next hearing.
Yep.
Okay,
Sorry. Good to see you all.
all right, so you made a motion, Terry, right?
I did.
Was there a second?
Second.
All in favor of continuing to April 25th, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
All right, next.
Ooh, these after pictures are really impressive.
Washington Street Dam. So, Washington Street at the bottom of VZ Park, there's a picture of the,
Oh, that's by the boat launch?
yeah, across the street. The side of the culvert there that you don't normally go down and look at is falling apart, was falling apart. And so,
This is a brick one, huh?
yeah, you wouldn't
Wow.
know that from the other side.
Wow.
Figured that out.
Oh, I guess Bill Green went and looked at it, and
The road
Rennie
was falling in, and,
told us about it, so then we met Rennie down there and he showed it to us.
well, I think that was
So-
money well spent.
His suggestion was twofold. One is to issue an emergency order so that he could put boulders at the bottom to hold it up, and then riprap up along the bank, and I'll show you a picture of that, which they did under the emergency order. And the emergency order calls for a notice of intent to be filed, but that's in the process because Annie, Rebecca are going to file for a grant like they did for Uptack Road to potentially be able to replace the culvert. And so that makes more sense to include it all in one notice of intent.
Sounds good.
Let me see if I can find these pictures here, because kind of,
What do we need?
Pictures
She
are
has
here.
pictures here.
They're all
Yeah,
in
there's
here.
pictures.
no, but you don't have pictures of the finished work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so the after is not finished?
Here, you,
Oh, gosh.
Just like a couple of piles of folders. I'm sure they've done that.
All right, so what do we need to do?
we don't need to do anything.
All right,
On this one, we don't, I'm
Motion to
just
not do anything.
telling you about it.
project updates.
Yes.
What does sponsorship entail?
Here, if you want to look at this first.
Wait, do we have to make a motion on this? And also?
No,
No,
no.
You already did it.
no, we're moving on.
Well, here's my next question about this. How
Yes.
many of these culvert-type things do we have to worry about in Groveland? There's this one,
No, there's always.
Salem Street.
Probably
The
a lot.
other big one is Salem Street, and they're not ready to do anything with that yet.
Are there others that we should be
What's,
forward-thinking about?
Is that
well-
our job or is that Rennie's job?
We have,
True, I'm
Another-
just worried about it, that's all.
Oh,
there's
we have so
another,
many things to worry about. I'd
You're
say,
right,
let's
but
not worry about
I'm-
this
I
one.
can already feel my anxiety going up.
there's another grant for the lower Center Street culverts, which are highly undersized.
Yep.
And so we got a grant to put a plan together for those. 'cause
We've got a
that's-
grant or we're submitting for a
No, there
grant?
is a grant. They already received it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so that's going to be coming eventually.
Excellent.
Mike,
know.
has there ever been, and I'm just throwing this out there, a discussion between Groveland and Haverhill to actually cut that road in half and just make this whole problem go away and many other problems by
Having it be dead ends?
having being dead ends on both sides
No,
and saving a whole lot of money?
yeah,
What a good
no.
idea. Why don't we?
I don't know. You can go
How do we
before
do
the,
that?
you can go before the selectmen and argue the case. I'm not doing that.
You are not going to get the people.
That road is
Well-traveled.
pre-colonial.
Yeah, no, and it's, you know, what is it?
It is
like
well-traveled?
15
I
feet.
do go that way sometimes to get to Boxford.
way west.
Oh, okay, I've never gone that, well, I mean, I've done
No,
it
I mean,
at least
it's
once, but.
It's a good idea.
Never
I
should
mean,
have been
they
built
still have
there.
JB Little Road, and the story I understand is there's a property in the middle of it that's under like a couple of feet of water, and that's why they can't abandon the road, but I could
It's
be
pretty
wrong.
abandoned.
Oh, yeah. I
You've
mean,
been out there recently?
The road's been closed for as long as I've lived here. Temporarily
The last time I
closed.
drove it was
Temporarily.
about 20 years ago, and it was an adventure.
It's an adventure to bike tour on.
Yes.
Sorry,
All right.
Mike, just wanted to ask.
Yeah, no.
Good
hey,
idea.
Volunteer you.
It should have been,
Ma-
that road should have gone all the way around that second little pond, and it didn't. So, there you go.
Maybe when
The road is now a pond.
the price comes back as to how much it's going to cost to rebuild that bridge with the culverts, maybe then we can suggest it.
I'm just
You say
thinking,
Tom thought of that.
fixing Salem Street has more cars over it per day than Lower Center Street, but,
Oh, I know.
or not, yeah, Lower Center Street.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yes,
It's pretty well traveled.
yeah, it's kind of a major cut through.
Yeah. I like it. It's pretty drive.
Yeah, no, it is. Okay,
Don't
It's a bad idea.
bad idea looking.
All right, cleanups.
Next,
What's sponsorship, Mike?
yes, so we've got 3 cleanups here in Earth Day month, the month when Earth Day exists. I don't want to say it's Earth Day month. But the first will be this Saturday at 8 a.m. until we're done, which
At 8:15.
approximately 9:30. That's April 13th at Lower Center Street. And we are providing most of the heavy lifting and
There's no heavy
also the
lifting.
bags and gloves. The next one is on April 18th, which is a Thursday at 10 a.m. And that's going to be a cleanup of Salem Street from the intersection with School Street down to the Haverhill line. And if you're interested in that one, meet at the main lobby of Chesterton, who is providing the bags and gloves for that one at 10 a.m. in their main lobby. Meet there. And they're providing a bunch of people that are going to help clean up that. And the third one is on Sunday, after that, the 21st. There's going to be a cleanup of the community trail starting at Main Street, and the Groveland Democrat Committee is providing the bags and gloves for that one. So if you can't make any of those 3, I would urge you to go clean up your own street. I know every time I walk up Uptack Road, I see stuff that needs to be picked up, so I'm sure most people's streets could use a quick cleanup. So
So,
that's
what do we
what's
have to do?
happening.
What are,
Nothing.
the vote to sponsor? What's
Yes,
this?
we just have to make a motion to, because we are sponsoring
Is that gonna
this.
cost money, Mike?
No,
Okay.
no.
I move that we sponsor Earth Day cleanup days.
Second.
Any questions on the motion?
No, sir.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Okay, next one is, it's not on, oh yeah, no, it is on there. Number 7, the, if you recall, the reforesting, rewilding, whatever they want to describe it as, up at Beasley Park is ongoing, but Diana Lardo would like to apply for a biolab grant towards the project. And so we really need to approve that and also write a letter of sponsor, not a letter, a letter of
Letter of
support.
endorsement?
Yeah, yeah.
I move that we authorize the New England Biolab Foundation grant for the rewilding project at VZ Park.
Second.
Any questions on that?
Yes. If we get this grant, like, do we know what the restrictions or requirements are? Like, are we giving anything up or giving power, ceding power over to somebody else or something? Or do they just say, hey, like, do we do a proposal and they come back and say, yes,
Go
we're going to
wild.
support your proposal? Or do they have restrictions? on
Yes.
it?
Well, I think, I have to ask, because I'm not quite sure who is getting this grant. If it's going to the town of Groveland, the Conservation Commission, or Diane. I suspect it's going to the Master Gardeners Group. And they are complying with, they know that they can't do anything that we don't approve, as you've already, they've been in here before.
Right, yeah, no, I'm fully in support of that. I just don't want to
Yeah,
apply
no.
to some foundation and then we're like, whatever, we have to
Yeah, right.
do something that we
Right.
never intended because we didn't know about it to begin with.
Yeah, no, so I will try to find out who exactly is applying,
Yeah.
because I didn't get that answer.
Yeah, and if there's any, like I said, restrictions or requirements or something that'll, that we
Well,
may.
I can put that in the letter too, that, there'll be, whoever gets the grant is required to get approval from us for anything that's done.
Yeah, that's good. Because, yeah.
Did we
Something we
vote?
don't like, we should be able to.
No,
say.
we had discussion, and that was Tom's
Okay,
discussion.
any other questions?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye. Okay. Unanimous.
Move to approve the minutes from September 27th, 2023 that did not get submitted at the last
Second.
meeting. As submitted.
Any questions on that one?
Nope.
Negative.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Move to approve the minutes of March 13th, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
What's the date on that? March what?
March 13th,
March
2024.
13th.
2024. We're into, we're caught up, I think.
Yeah.
Was there a
Uh,
second? There was a second.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous. Okay, so Annie gave us a little update there on, he says the busy season is upon us. We've got
Yes.
2 notice of intents for septic systems for our next meeting. And then some other notes about town candidates night, town meeting, and local elections. So, the only question then is, our next meeting, can it be on April 25th? Will there be a quorum for that night? So I will be there
I can be there.
to,
I said I could be there too, yeah.
yeah,
I can be there, I think.
okay, all right, so we'll officially say then it's April 25th, Thursday, 7 PM. And we've got at least two notice of intents for septic systems coming. They're chomping at the bit to get them. I have to call,
Do we need to do a site visit ahead of time? I don't know what the address is.
I don't think there's gonna be enough time to do a site visit.
Annie's going to be at the meeting, right?
Yeah,
So she can pop out and tell us anything we need to know, right?
Yeah, I just, my point is, so at that night, we can make a decision. We're not like starting to question.
Yeah,
the
yeah. I
site.
mean, septic, you want to hold up septic unless you really have a compelling reason.
but what I can do is tell Annie that if she thinks that we should have a site visit, you know, we'd have to do it before that Thursday, sometime either that week, like at 5 o'clock on Tuesday night or something like that.
There's time.
Yeah, yeah, all right. And, you know, we'll continue that here, continue the meeting on the 2 Federal Way. I think that's it. Any other items not reasonably anticipated? I don't think so. And open discussion, anything for open discussion?
Move
No,
to...
no open discussion?
Nope.
To
Nope.
adjourn.
Say- Oh,
Okay, so there's a move,
At 8:19-ish,
Or 24.
8:23.
move to, there's a motion to adjourn at 8:24. All in favor?
aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.